Hello, everybody. Welcome to Weekly Trash, the safe place to cleanse your mind, body, and soul of all that trash you consume this week so you can consume some more tomorrow. I'm your host, Josie Van Dyke, and I am sitting next to the Nashville cowgirl queen, Betsy Mikesell, everybody.
I love you called me the Nashville cowgirl queen.
You're the Nashville cowgirl queen. No, you really are.
Thank you.
Your house is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
We're driving up here and I was like, this cannot be where she lives. The greenery, the water, like this is the dream, Betsy.
It really is like heaven here. I know. It's
I
like we
see why
can't
you
tell
live
too
here.
many people though.
Yeah, no, they can't come.
It's not that nice. No.
Yeah. Don't move
Just
to
kidding.
Nashville. We don't need more traffic.
Yeah.
No, but truly, I was like,
Beautiful
why
here.
move to Nashville? No, I get it now.
It's
I get
like-
it.
And you'll go to like restaurants and stores and the people are so nice.
Oh, that Southern hospitality.
Yep.
Just good people.
I know.
Well, Betsy, we need to do a dumpster deep dive into who Betsy Mikesell is because you're kind of iconic. Today's dumpster deep dive is brought to you by Beddys. Beddys is a patented design and you will not find anything else like it on the market. Each zipper bedding set is all one piece. Your beddys include your sheet, blanket, comforter, and matching pillowcases and shams, and they go all on your bed like a fitted sheet. It comes in sizes toddler to king and are perfect for any bed, especially beds that are in tight spaces. I personally love it for my kids because they get zipped in like a little sleeping bag and are absolutely obsessed. And I have an exclusive code for trashers. If you use code WEEKLYTRASH, you will get 25% off your order up until the 16th. Okay. After the 16th, the discount code will go to 20%. So use it while you can to get 25% off all your bedding at Beddys.com. BEDDYS.com. You are a businesswoman. You started probably the most amazing invention of all time, Beddys.
Thank you.
So we need to talk about that, but I want to get to know you and everything that started and happened before that.
All right.
So are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Betsy, where are you from?
So I am originally from Utah.
Utah girl.
So you came all the way out here and here I'm a Utah girl.
Yeah, we love it. What part of Utah?
So I grew up in South Jordan, Utah.
Okay, yeah.
But I was born in California.
Yeah,
So,
claim
like,
that. Yeah, I was born
you
in
know,
California. I'm not from Utah.
I'm like, there's a little. No.
Yeah.
But I claim Utah because that's like all I really know. So,
And when did you meet your husband?
so we were 13. No, I think I was 12. So my best friend and his best friend were going out and we were the tag-alongs.
Okay.
So
At 12.
yeah. And it's like the first day I met him, he said, will you go out with me? And I said, yes.
Absolutely.
And like, we didn't go to the same schools, like nothing. So since we were so young and my mom's like, you can hang out every other weekend with odd number of people. And so that's what we did for years.
I love that odd number of people.
I know she didn't want us like
Because you don't want to couple off. Yeah, no, I get it. Moms are smart.
I know she was smart. But, and then we broke up my junior year. No, my sophomore year.
Okay.
And then we got back together my junior year. And then we got married when I was 18. Like
18.
I know.
So did you ever really date anyone else?
Yeah, we dated and we both dated other people, but really like, no. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, we dated other people, but it was mostly just
You just
us.
knew.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
at 12 years old, were you so smitten by him?
Yeah.
Yeah?
He was honestly just like my best friend. He was like,
I love
he's
it.
just fun to be around. Like if you meet him, you'll meet him.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. Like, and anyone that can make you laugh that's
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. So growing up, where are you in your family? Are you the youngest, oldest?
so I'm the second to the youngest. There's 7 kids in my family.
Oh, my
4 girls,
goodness.
3 boys.
7.
So yeah, so there was the brother that's just above me is 4 years older than me, and my sister that's just under me is 3 years younger than me. So I never went to school with any of my siblings,
Yeah.
like, high school, middle school. So, and I went to Copper Hills High School, and all my siblings went to Bingham, and that's where Gentry went too.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so kind of random. Huh?
Are you guys still close?
I feel like I need a tissue. Can we stop for 1
yeah,
second?
we can get a tissue. Get you
I
a
am
tissue.
so sorry. I'm like,
no,
my nose
we'll pause.
Saying.
Okay, we're back. You had a stuffy nose and
I
you're
know.
just getting tissue. No, we were talking about if you guys were close or not, you and your family.
Oh, yes. And it's so funny because I've like kind of gotten close with each sibling at like random times.
Yeah.
So I have my oldest sister who is 13 years older than me. She's actually a therapist. And I've become the closest
handy.
with her the last few years because we've had a lot of things happening in our lives. And you would think that you don't want to go to a family member because of like with therapy, but it was actually so nice because I didn't have to re-explain. She already knows what's going on in my life, you know?
And it's a lot to re-explain.
Yeah.
That's why people don't want to go to new therapists, because they're like, now I have to read you a whole chapter book about my life.
Yes.
There's so many like little things within the story too.
So true.
That they already know. Well, that's really nice.
So yeah.
So you got married at 18, and what were your plans? Like, you did hair, right?
So I went to hair school. My sister, who is 7 years older than me, she was a hairdresser too. And in fact, this is kind of funny because my parents didn't want me to they didn't want her to go to hair school. They're like, no, you need to go to get your degree. So she went to her regular college, got a degree, and she's like, I still want to do hair. Can I do hair? And they're like, oh my gosh. Okay. So she did hair. So she like kind of paved the path for me. So then when I wanted to do hair, I didn't have to go to regular school first. So
you got to go straight to it.
I'm the only person in my family that doesn't have a college degree.
No way.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
That is crazy.
All of my family has, so I'm like
You're
black
the only
sheep.
one, and look at where you live.
No.
College isn't that important, you guys. It is. If you want to go, you should go. But like,
crazy though, right?
That's crazy.
I know everyone has asked, they're like, do you have a black sheep in your family? I'm like, no, I actually don't think we do. And then the more we discuss, I was like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the black sheep.
Maybe it's actually me. Weird.
Bless my heart.
So you did hair, and what was Gentry doing? Because you guys were the same age, right?
Yeah. No, he was a year ahead of me in school.
Okay.
So he's a year older, but he did, he was an electrician.
Okay.
So he did that for years. And then through the electrical business, they started doing a lot of pools. And then they opened their own pool company. And so he owned a pool company and an electrical company.
Okay.
And then I did hair, and it was great. Like, we loved it.
Yeah.
And then we had 2008 happen, and the construction business went kind of terrible. They had some big jobs that they had done, and those jobs claimed bankruptcy. So we had already paid out for all the work to be done. We've paid for all the parts. So we were just like kind of hating life. So,
and you had kids at this point.
Yes. And so there were some other things that also happened along with that. But so he and his business partner, they owned 50% of the electrical and 50% of the pool company. And they decided actually just to, like, Gentry had the licensing for the pool company and his business partner had the licensing for the electrical company. So they just split like that. And so, but then after that, Gentry ended up going and working for his friend selling cars, because not a ton of people were doing pools. And so
they didn't want to put that money into pools when they could barely buy groceries.
Yeah. So anyway, so then he started selling cars, and then that's when the whole Beddys thing started. So then I was doing hair like from 6 a.m. till like noon. And then I do Beddys stuff from like noon to like 4 or 5. And then I do hair again at night.
Wow.
Because Beddys wasn't paying anything.
Right. Well, because it all started because I was watching a video where you kind of talked about how it started. Your sons, you have twins. They had bunk beds.
Yes.
And making the beds were so hard. And so one day you just went, got a big zipper, and had your mom sew it.
Yeah, basically. That's basically it. And my mom's like such a great sewer. And I'm like, Mom, this is how it needs to be done. She's like, I don't understand what you're saying. So I was like trying to like draw it out for her. And then we made a terrible version. But like that was my first version. And it wasn't to be a bedding company. I was making it just so that my kids would make their dang bed.
For sure.
And they loved it. And then my friends and clients, I would tell them about it. I'm like, oh, I ended up just making this thing. They're like, Betsy, this is a really good idea. Like, you should patent it. I was like, really? So I would go running every morning with my friend Angie, and I would complain to her and tell her about all the things. And one day we were at lunch, and she's like, I think I want to go back to college. And I was like, no, don't go back to college, because then how are we going to have these lunches?
Yeah. Like, no, don't.
And so she's like, well, what am I going to do? I need to do something. I'm like, we should start the business. She's like, what business? I'm like, the zippered bedding business. And she's like, well, let's do it. So we did it as a hobby so that we could like go on business lunches that were paid for. That was like our main
goal.
Good
tax write-off.
Yes.
Did you immediately know you wanted it to be called Beddys?
No, actually, originally I wanted it to be named Zippitys, because I was like,
Zippity-doo-dah,
zippity. I thought that Zippitys would be a great name. We changed it right before we did our Kickstarter to Beddys, and we all just liked Beddys.
Beddys is definitely more simplified than
and
Zippitys.
It's also like making your bed with ease, but like we could expand into more products, right?
Exactly. Exactly, because Beddys also kind of sounds like Betsy.
That is what I didn't know. Like, people think that my name is Betsy or Betty. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, literally, it took probably 5 people saying that for me to be like, you know what? I can see what they're saying now.
That actually sounds like
why had we been in business with the name Beddys and nobody brought it to my attention, like in close family or friends?
Because you didn't know business stuff.
No.
So like,
no.
Who was guiding you guys through like getting a patent and
Google.
Yeah.
So I know it really is kind of crazy, but like every step of the way, there were so many people that were probably like, oh, bless your heart, let me help you.
Yeah.
And they helped a ton. So, but Google was like, for example, this is like one story that I've shared before is our product was on the water, like getting here. And my business partner gets a call and they're like, hey, we need to know who your freight forwarder is. No, customs broker. And she's like, oh, yep, just a second, I can get you that name. She types in like, what is a customs broker? How do I get a customs broker? She finds the customs broker and she calls me. She's like, Betsy, we need a customs broker. I'm like, crap, what is that? She's like, don't worry about it. I got one. So like, but that's how we did a lot of things, you know, is like, I truly, if I had known what we were getting into, I don't think I would have started.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a lucky thing that we didn't know what we were doing.
Because you also had to like find a manufacturer because like were you ever at a point where you were making these at your home?
No, just like samples, just like pre-making samples. Like my mom actually made the very first one and then made one that like was a very refined version of what we
now have.
Yeah. Or I mean, more refined of the first one, but
not as great as what you have now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we found like we spent probably, so we say that Beddys has been around for 10 years, but we had been spending a few years before that just trying to find manufacturing because we wanted to be, everyone wants to have manufacturing in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So we went everywhere, but there's no fabric manufacturers here. There's just nothing left. So even if you are manufactured here, your products or your like the fabrics and all those things, still your materials are still coming from other countries.
Yeah.
And so we did find manufacturing here, but they wanted $600 per twin cost. And I'm like,
wow.
oh no, like there's no way we could sell this and make money on it, you know? So that's when we found our manufacturer in China and they needed $250,000 to get started. And I was like, oh, I don't have that.
Yeah. So, what did you do?
Oh my gosh. I told my business partner, I'm like, this is where Betsy's like a little bit more of a dreamer. She's more of the like realist, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But I was like, listen, we just need to go to Shark Tank. And Shark Tank is in Vegas right now.
Yeah,
like,
let's go.
I know. She's like, why don't you go? And I'll just like stay here. And I was like, perfect. I can do this. So I got my sample and I drove down to Vegas. And I literally applied for Shark Tank.
Well, because I Googled it. I was like, was Beddys on Shark Tank? No. And you never got on Shark Tank, but you did get through the first round.
Yes. And I'm like, so sad that we never got on. Yeah. But then also so many other cool things happened that I'm like, it's okay. Like what you think is supposed to happen and it doesn't, that's okay because other things are in the works, you know?
For sure.
So I did go down there and he's like, this is a really great idea, but you have got to get sales. Like the sharks will eat you alive. I'm like, oh crap. I was just hoping I could say I need $250,000. She would say, great idea. Let me give it to you. Yeah. Like I didn't know there was
I have faith in you. I believe you. Know. You're like, no, I swear I'll do it. Like it'll be great.
Yeah. So anyways, we went to, when I got back from Vegas, we decided to do the Kickstarter and I'm like, okay, if we can get $100,000 from Kickstarter, then Angie and I can each take $75,000 out on our home equity line because truly like, this is the other thing. If you're starting a business, everyone's like, oh, they have all these women loans for women-owned businesses. They have all these like start your business loans. And I'm like, no, they will give you $20,000 for your first 3 children. Maybe, you know, like, so
it's not big enough for a huge business.
And it's how banking really is. Like, cause even the first few years of Beddys, it's like no bank would give us money. Like that was so frustrating. I remember I did this like course. It's the Goldman Sachs course. And like, it's great. It's like basically getting an MBA on your business anyway, but they would tell us like, they're like, okay, so what do you do when you need to get money? And they're like, go to the bank. And I'm like, this is BS.
Yeah.
No bank wants to give you money when you need it.
No.
Like, so I feel like sometimes schooling and college, they have like these perfect answers and it's not real life answers. Cause like when you're in there, I promise you, no one would give us money. So that's why we did the Kickstarter. That's why we did our home equity line because it was like the only way we could get it to start.
Was Gentry super supportive during all
So
of
supportive,
this?
which is crazy too. Cause I'm like, I don't know if I would have been that supportive of him. I'm like, he just kept taking money and more money. You know, it was a lot, you know, but he had faith that like he thought it was going to be big. So it was good.
And now it is. You just celebrated 10 years.
10
like
years.
You said, you were working before then, but you say 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
That's
official, like that was the day we funded on Kickstarter. We call that like our birthday.
The starting day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And in those 10 years, I'm sure you've learned so much.
Uh-huh.
What has been like the biggest thing that you've learned, maybe learned it the hard way too?
I will say people are generally good. Like there are so many good people. And I think that with business, there are a few bad people mixed in. So I think you should have contracts to protect yourself. But how cool that like you can start this business and have so many people, like the people that backed us on Kickstarter, that was like friends and families, and then they spread the word. There's just like, and maybe it's the Utah thing. I think there's something with Utah that people want to support you and help you get started. Like I couldn't have started Beddys in a better state.
Well, I do feel like there's so many entrepreneurs in Utah.
There are.
I know personally 7 people who have been on Shark Tank. Like, that's not normal.
No,
that's not normal.
I mean, Utah is such a cool place for starting a business. The people are so good. So I didn't know how much work it would be, but I think that's a blessing. Like if I had known, I wouldn't have done it. I tell you what, like the amount of time, like I got shingles a couple times, like, and it's just like all the stress of everything, you know? And, but also it's like, it's taught me so many good lessons. And my kids, like I have, of course it goes both ways. Like I have the mom guilt that I wasn't this present mom because I was starting a business. Boston, he was like, Mom, do you know that so-and-so's mom makes their lunch for them every day before school? I was like, I am a terrible mom. And then I was like, wait a second, you know how to make your lunch every day. Like I
taught you how to do that.
I allowed that to happen by not making you lunch.
A safe place for you to be able to make your lunch.
But then like, so truly, like there was as much mom guilt as there was, then there's like these moments that I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I had been there, like making their lunches every day, they probably wouldn't have learned that skill because I would have just taken care of it. So I don't know. You can look at it and be like, oh, I wish could have, should have, would have, but it really has been awesome.
No, I love that. Do you feel like being a mom and also running this business has empowered you? Because I feel like it's super empowering watching women do both. Because even though you felt like you weren't super present, I'm sure your kids felt just as loved as the kids that were getting lunches every morning.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, it was like, I'll tell you, so we went to China. We'd go back to our factory about three or four times a year. We actually went quite often.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And it was, because it was important to me to know who's making the product, what the facility's like. You hear so many like sweatshops and all these things. And I'm like, we have just such good partners there. But one of the times when we were in China, we decided to take a tour and we went on to see the Great Wall. And I remember getting up there and it was the first time in all of Beddys that I like really absorbed or like
reflected.
Yeah. And like, I'm like, oh my gosh, Beddys got us here. Beddys, like we did this. Like I was proud. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So there are really cool times like that, but I don't want to give people false hope that like you're going to feel guilty and you're going to feel like you're the worst mom and you're the worst friend. Lots too. And then, but it makes all these like Great Wall moments even better.
Totally.
So you can't appreciate these highs without like those lows.
For sure.
So.
Have there been lows in your friendship? Because working with a friend, having your friend be your business partner, is that difficult?
Do you know what? I will say this over and over again. I don't know how I got so lucky. Like she's truly my equal opposite. And like we've had a couple like tiffs, but I wouldn't even say fights. Like we've just kind of been like, I'll say, I feel like you're annoyed with me. And are you annoyed? You know, and she's like, well, I am a little bit frustrated like that. But that's, we are so, so lucky. So she's like, if you met her, she's the exact opposite. She's calm. She's quiet. She's just so pleasant. And I'm like, ah.
No, but I feel like you're even hard to fight with. Like you just seem so like bubbly and happy. Like what does pissed Betsy look like? I don't even know.
Oh, ask my kids. No.
She's there.
Do you know what? I feel like I am super happy, but fairness. Like if people are not fair to me or not fair to a friend or something, that's what gets me. I'm like,
triggers you. You're like,
yeah.
No.
Like we joke that we have a bunch of F words at Beddys, like, but fairness is like, it's important. Like for me, like I want to be fair to my employees. And if they need to go home and have family time, like for sure, go do that. And then in turn, like I hope they're fair to me and like they'll get their work done when they need to.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of panned out.
Do you know how many employees you have right now?
I think we're at 58.
Wow.
Yeah.
When do you feel like the momentum started where you're like, wow, Betsy is supporting us? Because Gentry doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Or does he?
He works with Beddys.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, when did that happen?
So, well, gosh. Okay. So about 3.5 years in, Gentry saw how much we were paying to shipping.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, you asked like a quick.
No,
I have to tell you a lot.
I asked
of things.
a million questions and we go all day. No. Let's go.
Okay. So so about 3 years in, Gentry's like, you pay how much to shipping? And I'm like, I know, but it's like, we have to.
Yeah.
He's like, I could do that and I could do it for less. And long story short, my business partner's husband had just gotten laid off from his job. And so that was also another blessing. Like it sounds sad and like awful, but he would have never joined Gentry.
Yeah,
doing
open a door.
And it's like, so our two husbands became business partners and they do all the shipping and fulfillment. So it was great because we couldn't afford shipping and we couldn't afford fulfillment in the beginning. So they floated us for like, so no one was getting paid for months. Yeah. But it was great because it was during a time when we were trying to grow. So they did all the shipping and fulfillment and they still do it. And then we actually are just combining companies. So now it's all under Beddys. But yeah, that was another kind of a cool thing is
so it just happens.
Yeah. And part of the reason why we moved out here is because we're opening a fulfillment center out here.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was supposed to be sooner. We were supposed to do this about 3 years ago. And then the economy kind of like started to going down a little bit. Yeah. So we're like, let's hold. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
But when did it start to build the momentum where Gentry felt
we
comfortable
could get paid
to leave and you just have Beddys be what's paying bills?
Yeah. So I am pretty sure I still did hair too a little bit in those first. Yeah. Cause I did hair for probably 3 years of Beddys. But it was right then. And it was like, we were just kind of holding on for dear life. Like it was one of those things that you look back and you're like, why would you do that? Yeah. But we were lucky and like somehow we made ends meet. And then I want to say, okay, this is like a numbers thing, but I remember thinking when we very first started, I'm like, oh my gosh, if we hit $100,000, like we should go get lipo. That's what.
No, right? We're rich.
Because we are going to be so rich if we get $100,000.
Let's go get a Birkin. Let's go.
I know. And then
I feel that.
Then I found out that means nothing because you have to go buy $200,000 more of product. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wait a second. I thought we were going to have money. So long story short, I was talking to my CPA and I'm like, we had hit a couple $1 million. And I was like, wait, we hit a couple $1 million and why don't I feel like we're making money?
Yeah, why don't I feel like a millionaire?
Yeah. He's like, I think you'll feel it at about 20 million. Like 20 million? I have to wait till 20 million to be able to feel like there's money.
Yeah.
Maybe he said 12. I can't remember, but whatever it was, it felt like so far off and we will never get there.
But you obviously did.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's amazing.
So it's good. But yeah.
It took a minute.
Yeah. So I think if people like, they see Beddys as successful right now and it is, but there were so many years of just barely hanging on. Truly.
Well, and I feel like you hear that with a lot of success stories. I think people just assume that everything is like up, 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 up. Yeah. But there's ebbs and flows and a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hardships that go with it.
Yes.
Back to being a mom, though, and doing all of this. Mm-hmm. How old were you when you had your first? You told me just barely. It was 20.
20.
Yeah.
I was 20 when I had Alyssa and then 23 when I had the boys. And then I was done. I was done having kids at 23.
Did you want to be done? Like, did you feel done? Because I'm at that point where I have 3 kids and I put it in the notes. Like, I need advice. Like, how do you know when you're done? Like, did you just know?
No, you don't. No? And then you'll still like wonder later on if you did it right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And you did. Whatever you did is right. You know?
No, I agree.
So, but I couldn't like mentally, I couldn't handle more on my plate. And it was like, so by the time the twins were probably like 6 or 7 is when I might have considered it. But
Yeah.
then at that point, I was just like, now it's too far apart.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
3's good.
Am I still sad? Yeah, some days. But I also loved having 3 kids.
Well, that makes me feel good. And
Yeah.
we have the same. I have a girl and 2 boys. Not
Yeah.
twins, though. I don't know. What was having
Blessed.
twins like?
It was actually awesome.
Was
Like,
it?
yeah, I never wanted twins.
So
and
like
I used to
it was
joke-
natural. It wasn't
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
IVF situation.
No. So I had Alyssa, and being pregnant was awful. Like it was so, I felt so sick all the time. So I was like joking. I'm like, if I will get pregnant one more time, but the only way I'm having 3 kids is if I have twins. Like
2
I
for
would
1.
joke about that.
Yeah.
And then I was
look
like,
what
then I found
happened.
out I was having twins, which the whole way I found out is I thought I was miscarrying. So they had me go in and get my blood drawn, and they're like, no, your levels are pretty high. And then they're like, wait a second, let's do an ultrasound. And for my levels being that high, they couldn't see a baby in there. They could see a sac, but no heart rate.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, why don't you come back in a week and we'll do a D&C. So about 5 days later, I was like, can I just be done with this? Like this waiting game is torture. Like, let's
Yeah.
just get it done. So before the D&C, they do an ultrasound, and she's doing an ultrasound. She's like, just a second. And then she decides to do the ultrasound that goes inside of you, whatever that's
the
called.
vaginal.
Yep. And she's like, you're not miscarrying. You're actually having twins. And I was like, blessed that I am laying down, because how is this happening? I had just left my sister's baby shower, and I literally told her, I'm like, I'm so happy for you, and I'm so sad for me, because I knew I was going to go have a D&C. At
Yeah.
least that's what I thought. And I'm like, but I'm just going to go get really skinny. That's what I told her.
Like,
And
that's
then
what
I
I'm
was
gonna
pregnant with twins. So super sick with the twins. So that's the other thing
Wow.
too, is like, I feel like I was not a good pregnant person.
I'm
So,
not either. That's
yeah.
why I don't want to have another one.
I know.
Because I don't ever want to be pregnant again.
I know.
Like
It's-
ever.
Yeah. It was like having the flu all the time, emotional, like it was awful.
Did you have good postpartum though? Or did motherhood
No.
come easily or no?
And do you know what I think? I think this is what okay, now everyone's going to start Googling this, but I just recently, after finding out with Brock's whole gallbladder situation,
Yeah.
that's another story, but I started researching this because I'm like, why is my 19-year-old super healthy son, like he doesn't have any junk food, any sodas,
Yeah.
like he's the most healthy kid, getting his gallbladder out. And then somebody told me, they're like, you should look at MTHFR. And I was like, what's this?
Yeah, what is that?
I think you have it too. I've listened to enough podcasts from you, and like some of the things
Oh my
you've
gosh,
said.
I bet I have it.
Because listen, when you're pregnant, they give you folic acid in your prenatals.
Yes.
Folic acid is toxic to you if you have MTHFR. It's in all of our enriched grains. It's in all of our breads. It's like, okay, so do you like how Betsy's now diagnosing
no,
you?
I love it. Please, please, Dr. Mikesell, help me.
But okay, so I don't even know where I was going to go with this, but so then I started researching all of that. Well, then I'm like, oh my gosh, literally on Sunday, I was like, Gentry, I wonder if the reason why I felt so sick, I had toxemia. I had to give birth to Alyssa 5 weeks early. I had my twins 8 weeks early. Like I had toxemia on both pregnancies. You can't tell me that the
They're not
folic
correlated.
acid that you're giving me, because it's to prevent, so if you have MTHFR, you just need a methylfolate version. You don't need, the folic acid is toxic to you. But the crazy thing is, now I'm going to go into another
Let's
spiel.
do it.
But in 1998, they started adding folic acid to all of our grains. Do you know anyone with gluten or
Oh, celiac.
allergy?
Everyone has celiac.
Yes. And I'm not saying that don't confuse this with MTHFR and celiac. I know those are all different.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that the amount of people who are not tolerating gluten since 1998 has increased by like how much? I didn't know anyone before 98.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are blaming all of the gluten issues on glyphosate, but that was in 1973.
Yeah.
So my doctor said that over 90% of his patients that have been tested have this MTHFR, but as a general public, more than 50%.
Wow.
Right?
Well,
So
that explains because people go to Europe and they can eat
are
bread.
fine. I'm just saying, okay?
Okay, so you were really sick your pregnancy. That's how we got on that. is
Terribly
because-
sick.
And
Yeah.
then after your pregnancy.
Yes. And guess what else? I'm like the biggest AG1 fan. Like if you follow me, I will like
You like your
harp
greens.
on people. No, it's specifically this one. And the reason why, I found out that the guy who created AG1 had MTHFR. And I remember talking to the people with AG1
Yeah.
and them telling me the story about the guy. I'm like, oh, that poor guy. I just liked AG1 because of how I felt. did not ever consider that I might have MTHFR too.
Yeah.
The mutations. Anyways, we just went on a whole nother spill.
Do you think we think your son has it?
Oh yeah, he's been tested.
Okay, so he has it.
I diagnosed him.
And then you got tested.
And then we all got tested. Yeah, and we have it.
All of you?
Yes. And so that like makes all the sense now. So now Alyssa, guess what? She didn't take prenatals. She wasn't sick.
Yeah.
Guess what she took? AG1.
That's what she took as like her prenatal.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, like how many of us are just feeling like yucky? We're swelling. Our bodies are literally like
falling apart.
Yes.
Wow.
I know. I will talk to you about this after.
Yeah,
because there was somebody you were interviewing. I was like, I wrote up a message to her and then I deleted it because I'm like, I'm crazy.
She's going to be like.
But I'm like, you need to know this.
Yeah.
Because I was on SSRI
Yeah.
since I had Alyssa.
Because I've been on an SSRI since I was 16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know.
So, and I should have been on probably in high school. But the number one thing with MTHFR is like mood. Yeah.
Wow.
It's wild. You're like.
Okay. So, but that means that you had a hard time mentally after Alyssa, that you felt like
totally
you needed to get on it.
Uh-huh.
And what finally made you pull the trigger to like go to a doctor and like get on medication?
So my pediatrician, I freaking loved him. He was the sweetest man. And it's like, he's supposed to be checking on Alyssa and I could like see him watching me. And I'm like telling him about how like, I'm just so worried. Like I would be touching a car door and then have to wash my hands because then what if I touch this? And then like, I was so
anxiety.
worried.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's like, so let me just tell you something. In other countries, they actually don't pasteurize and homogenize the milk. And they found that these kids are actually healthier kids. And he's like, basically trying to tell me germs are good for kids. They are okay. You know? And like, so then him saying all of this to me, and then he was like very gentle. He didn't tell me to be on medication, but he was just like trying to help me work through it so that I wasn't such an anxious mom. And then I think it was just at one point that I'm like, I don't feel good. Like I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And so I got on the SSRI and I felt fine. But now knowing what I know now, I'm like, why are we medicating? There's a place and a time for everything.
For sure.
There is a time and a place for everything. But what I've learned this last year is unbelievable, that I'm like, it can be changed so much in our foods first. And if you would have told me this 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, they're one of those weirdos.
They're one of those
natural weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You're
now I'm like,
weirdo now.
oh my gosh, I'm a natural weirdo now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after Alyssa, how soon did you have the twins?
So they're almost 3 years apart. Like
okay.
2 years and 8 months or something.
And were you still on antidepressants, anxiety medication when you had them as well?
Yep.
And then how was
actually,
that?
No, I tried to go off of that.
Okay.
And then after I had the twins, the doctors are like, they're going to be in here for a couple months. Like if you've already had postpartum before, let's just get you started. So I got started again.
Because were they in the NICU?
Uh-huh.
How long were they in the NICU?
Yeah, they were in there for a month. Yeah.
That's so
And then
hard.
I had to bring him home on oxygen. That was also hard.
That's especially two.
Yeah.
2 kids on oxygen. Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
Blessed that you guys have outlets now.
Yeah. Except outlets aren't.
They have a medical device version though.
Oh, they do?
Yes. Because I almost bought one for my house because when Alyssa comes out here.
You're like, we need to be prepared.
No, I was like trying to think of all the things she doesn't have to bring out.
Yeah, because you're a grandma now.
I know.
How's that being a grandma?
It's awesome.
That's the thing. You don't have to worry about wanting more kids because you can just live through your grandbaby.
I know, which is so nice because like I stayed with Alyssa for like a week after and helped at night and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, it's hard. Being up at night is hard. It was easier when you were younger.
Yeah. No, right?
Yeah.
You seem to have like a really good relationship with all of your kids. You and Alyssa seem like best friends.
Yeah.
Did you have that relationship with your mom?
Do you know what? I really loved my mom, but I wouldn't say that like my mom is like the sweetest person you'll ever meet. But like my best friend was Gentry. And so I didn't have time for other friends or my mom. Like that sounds terrible because I love my mom, but
for sure.
But I don't think that I have the same relationship with my mom as I do with my kids. And I think a lot of that changed. So after the plane crash.
Let's talk about that if you're comfortable sharing, because that was a huge shift in your life. A lot of things happened. Mm-hmm. You were in a plane crash with your friends. Uh-huh. Can you walk me through that day?
Yeah. So Alyssa had done that 15 dates in 15 days.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yes.
And I told my friend, I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to do this with your daughter. So long story short, we were taking her, I was in charge of the dates. I was recording the dates for her. Do you know Brooklyn and Bailey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The twins.
So it was Brooklyn. And so we went down to take her for one of her dates in Roosevelt, and they were going boating, and there wasn't enough room on the boat for me to go. So they're like, we'll just record this by ourselves. You just hang out with Jaslyn. So Jaslyn's like one of my really good friends. And so it was me, Gentry, Shad, the pilot, Jaslyn's husband, and then Jaslyn, and then my twin boys in back. So we were just going to go for like a 15-minute flight. And
because Shad had a plane.
Shad had a plane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we go up there, and it's crazy.
And it's a little plane for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about.
Yes,
It's not like
6 passenger.
Yeah. It's like a small little plane.
So we go, and both Gentry and I are nervous Nellies, like for everything. I'm scared to look over like a railing. Like I'm scared of heights. So a plane was also very scary. But then they're like, oh, it's going to be fine. So I had called Alyssa before that, and I'm like, Alyssa, do you think we should go? She's like, Mom, stop being a baby. You're going to be fine. Yes. Go have fun. Like live a little. So anyways, we go. And then right before this, there's so many random things are coming up. But I texted Alyssa my safe number, like all of my passwords and stuff like that. She's like, Mom, stop doing that. You're scaring me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it's fine. And then my younger sister, she's like, I don't think you should go. And I was like, it's fine. We're already on the plane. She's like, okay, but please don't do this again, you know? And so there were a couple things.
Yeah.
And then the weirdest thing is I had asked Instagram, but I'm asking Instagram as a joke. Like, I'm like, should I go on a plane?
No.
And then 74% voted yes. And I was like, so then I get on, I'm like, about apparently 74% of you don't care if I live. And then like that story was up while we were in a plane crash. So we go up and we come around the mountain. Did you see the plane crash video?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
And how calm Shad was.
Everyone.
Like
I will scream at, like you say, boo, and I scream. Like that's just how.
Yeah.
It was
like gave me chills when I watched it.
I know. So anyways, we came around the mountain and we're coming over Moon Lake. And then that's when Shad's like, I lost power. We're going to have to land. And I just remember like, there were like, you get so many memories go through your head and it feels like you have time, but it's really only seconds. And I just was like, oh crap, should I call Liz and let her know? You know? And then I'm like, no. And then it was just like all these, and then we crashed. So I came to, like we all got knocked out.
Yeah.
And I came to, and I remember being confused because it was dusty. I couldn't see my vision. I think it's just part of my concussion. My vision was gone from like, if you put your hand over your cheeks, you can't see the ground.
Oh,
you can only see above. So I couldn't see my feet. I didn't know that the water was so close to us. Like I didn't know. Anyways, and I remember being like, and I looked at Jaslyn. Jaslyn's like, can't you go out Shad's door? So I'm like, okay. So I go out Shad's door and I'm running around the plane and Gentry's hanging out upside down of the plane and he's unconscious. And I just remember screaming and I could see people running. So there were campers that had seen it all happen. And Gentry was just, he wasn't breathing. There was blood everywhere. And I just remember trying to hold him because I was like, oh no, like I've got to pull him up so he doesn't choke on his blood. Like I've got to get him breathing. I was like screaming, breathe, Gentry, breathe, you know? And then this guy came up and he helped me hold Gentry. Cause like, also this is so weird, but like I lost feeling in my hands. So I couldn't, like my normal strength, I couldn't hold, you know? And anyways, so Josh, the guy that helped me hold Gentry was there. And then this Andy, who happened to be an EMT, he had seen it all happen. He came running over and he was supposed to be heading home from vacation. Like he was late checking out, but he's like, I just want to look one more time at the lake. It's like his favorite view. And he looks at it and he's like, that plane is too low and it's silent. What's happening? And he sees us crash and he tells his 2 kids who are EMTs in training, he's like, come on, let's go grab the first aid kit. So they come running. It was about a mile run for them to get to us. And then Andy's like, no, don't move him. But then there was fuel just leaking underneath the plane. And so
that's terrifying.
I'm like, there's all this fuel. Like it's middle of summer. It's hot, it's dry.
Yeah.
Like it's going to start on fire. And so he's like, okay. So they had to get Shad out first. And
was Shad conscious?
Shad was conscious, but paralyzed. He couldn't feel his legs. He couldn't move. He's like, I can't move my legs. So they helped him get out. And he kept saying, he's like, there's a stick in my back. Can somebody help me get the stick out of my back? And it was his spinal cord injury, you know? And then Gentry's took the brunt of the hit. I would say both Shad and Gentry had the same spinal cord injury, but Gentry had like broken his face and his teeth and his femurs, his tibia, fibula, like he literally, every part of him was broken because the engine came in on Gentry because it was kind of on a hill. So, but they decided to get him out because
they didn't want it to explode or set on fire.
Yeah. And so they were trying to get braces. They called for 911. It took an hour for Life Flight to get there.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy, right? But the hospital's about an hour and a half away. And there were 3 ambulances doing a training that day, 15 minutes from us. So those 3 ambulances are what carried us home. Like Gentry was life flighted, but so Gentry was bleeding internally as well as like externally.
Everywhere, yeah.
And he needed his Apple Watch. We were able to watch his heart rate on his Apple Watch, and his heart rate was going up, his blood pressure was going down. So Andy's like, he needs an IV, and he's not going to make it before the Life Flight gets here. So he and Andy, this camper, is the one who gave Gentry this life-saving IV. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my gosh.
When I tell you, like, the people that happen to show up at the right time, it's like, it's wild.
It's godly.
Like I don't know if you listened at the end of the video, that woman who was speaking, and like, it made me bawl. Somebody sent me, she had written a post on Instagram, and somebody sent it to me, and I read it, and I was like, oh my gosh. She like described, it's so bizarre. You're in this, like, you're literally your biggest hell. And like, you can also feel heaven. Like, is that the weirdest thing?
Yeah, it's like a very blurred line.
But like, I genuinely feel like there were just angels there to help us. Like, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe myself, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I like loved hearing her take on it. And then like so many other people would say that. And I was like, okay, it wasn't just me that thought that, you know?
When you could feel it.
Like, cause why am I not going crazy? Like,
because I'm sure when you first see Gentry, you think he's dead.
I did. And I was just like screaming, help. I think he's dead. Like, I literally yelled that. Like, it was awful.
Were your boys okay?
Yeah, they were actually, so Boston was over by Jaslyn, and the people who were there kind of kept them away. And Brock saw Gentry, and he took off his shirt, and he's trying to help me open the door to get Gentry out. And he took off his shirt, and he's like, they were trying to keep Brock away, and they're like, and so Brock's like, Mom, but just give this shirt to Dad, you know? So.
Do we want to get a tissue?
I know.
Where's the tissue?
I go on, sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. I just.
So they wouldn't let us in the hospital like afterwards because freaking COVID and all this.
Yeah, it was
fake rules.
It was
like,
during
I literally,
the worst time.
It was awful. It was so bad. But anyway, like, I think Gentry had been in the hospital for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they let us have a visitor, or 2 visitors, like, so me and then somebody else. So I brought Brock with me because I was like, I felt like Brock had seen Gentry at his worst.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to hear another?
After 2 weeks?
Oh, I literally went to everyone because the doctor suggested that I be with Gentry because he was like waking up and confused at where he's at. And anyways, long story short, the doctor suggested, it was like the patient coordinator who wouldn't let me in. She made the final call. Like, I talked to the governor. Like, I literally went to everyone. I'm like, this is insanity. When a doctor's suggesting, I'm like, I understand coming in and out of the hospital. Let me go in and I will stay in. I'm not going to leave and expose people to more germs. Yeah. But it was the rules that I'm like, I'm not trying to break rules. This is literally, I'm asking for what's written on your website.
Like, I want to be with my husband.
And it was written on their website. If the doctor suggests it, then you can go in. That it's like, this woman is evil. And I will still say it to this day. Like, I remember talking to her. I'm like, I just need to be with my husband. And she's like, I know everyone wants that too. It's really hard. Like, I could kill you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I'm not trying to break rules. I'm literally trying to do what's stated here.
No, that's
I felt like I was living on candid camera when like,
is this a joke?
Yes,
like, am I getting
it was
punked?
awful.
Like, what's happening?
It was awful. Anyways. But there were a lot of really cool things that happened. And So, okay. So remember how Gentry had his Apple Watch on?
Yes.
So so Alyssa, the people from the accident call Alyssa. She doesn't answer because it's an unknown number. And they're like, hey, your family was in a plane crash. Call me back.
I'm sure her life was flipped upside down with that call.
So she gets this call. And as she is going to call her back, she hears a voice that says, your dad's okay, which was weird to her. Your dad's going to be okay. And which was weird to her because she's like, but what about the rest of my family?
Yeah.
She had no idea what was going on. So anyways, by the time we get out on our ambulances, I'm trying to call her. I'm like, okay, they said that he's going to be at either IMC or the U of U. So go just head that direction. So she was headed to IMC and happens to open up her phone on Find Friends and sees that Gentry's at the Provo Hospital. Why can't I think of the name of it?
I can't think of it either.
Anyway, it's the Provo Hospital.
Yeah.
I actually love that hospital. The people there, everything really? Other than that patient coordinator.
Other than that evil.
I'm not evil.
Swearing with Betsy because she's so heavenly and perfect. And I'm this crude, gross person in your beautiful home.
Stop. No.
She's a witch.
She is. She was. Okay. So anyways, but so Alyssa happens to open Find Friends and sees that he's at that location. And then as she's watching it, it flips and goes back to Roosevelt. So what happened is the watch had shown her that he was at that hospital. So she flipped and went to that hospital. And then when it showed that it flipped and went to Roosevelt, it's because Brock had Gentry's cell phone. And by the time we got into service was after,
So she was able to see that.
Yeah. Like that split second of being able to see which hospital to go to. Wow. So she got there, she got to see Gentry before he went in. So he had bandages everywhere. And she's just like, Dad, I'm here, and he's talking to her. He doesn't remember any of this, but he was talking to her and he's like, I'm going to be okay.
That's incredible.
Right?
The odds that, because like you said, you had to wait to see him. You had to go through all of that crap to get to be with him.
So so anytime they had to do surgery or whatever, they called her because I was in the hospital myself. I was actually only in the hospital till that night.
Did you have any broken bones or anything?
So yeah, I broke 7 ribs but that was it. So, but also don't recover from 7 broken ribs. It's awful.
What is that like?
It's like you can't breathe I felt like it was I remember people saying that it was going to be 8 weeks. And I'm like, it's 15 weeks.
Because in the moment, your adrenaline was probably going.
I didn't notice anything. No, the only thing I noticed is I couldn't see. I was a little confused. I remember somebody handed me my purse and I was like, that's my purse, but how do I put it on? I couldn't even think of how to put a purse over crossbody,
Wow.
But then I could remember to make sure to tell everyone that Gentry's O blood type. I'm like, he's O positive. Here's our address. They're trying to ask Gentry. Oh, so then Gentry's mumbling things. So they're like, hey, where do you live? What's your address? And they're just trying to get him to talk. But I didn't realize that at the time.
Yeah. So
I'm answering.
You're giving in the info.
Yeah. Yes. And that's Josh. He goes, I knew you weren't normal because you were answering all the questions. I'm like, oh. You're like that gave away the head
Don't
injury.
Make him talk. He's in pain. Let me answer this. Get a pen, get a paper, write it down.
Little do you know that's how we do. That's how we run our whole lives. We'll just answer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm dying. That's so funny.
Yeah.
But you guys are all alive.
Yep.
You are all well. Gentry went from a wheelchair to a walker.
Yep.
He's walking.
Yeah. He's doing great. He's like, I still envision myself. He's like, I still every night I'm like, I'm going to run. I'm going to run someday. So he has from the spinal cord injury, he's got drop foot. So he can't lift up his foot. So he walks uneven. And he doesn't he doesn't have to go on your toes.
Oh yeah.
He can't do that either. So.
But that's a long journey to get to where he is right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that, because in that process you were moving to Nashville, or had you been in Nashville? You were building a house or something?
Yeah. So we had just worked on for about a year because we moved exactly a year later.
Okay.
So he was out of a wheelchair by the time we moved. In fact, Alyssa got married in June. Mm-hmm. And then he walked her, they got married in the temple, but he walked her to the,
did a
ceremony. A little ceremony thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I remember bawling at that because I was like, I didn't know if this would ever come to this day,
Yeah.
The fact that he was alive, but then also the fact that he
could
walk. Yeah.
I'm sure that was hard for him mentally, though. Was that hard on your relationship, or did you think it brought you guys closer together because you went through that?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. It was so hard and so frustrating. And, also like, it just changes you. And like, I was just so grateful that he was alive. And like, I'm like, I don't care if I have to take care of you for the rest of your life. Like I can do this.
Yeah.
And, it was hard, but it was good.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys grew together a lot because at times you needed to help him a lot. And I'm sure that probably made him feel not as manly. Like he couldn't be this protector man when his wife has to help him get up and stand up. And Gentry seems like that kind of guy that wants to be the alpha. Like,
I know.
Let me help. Let me do things.
He's so funny. He's like, I mean, the stories that because every now and again, I'll like see a story that reminds me of like, I mean, when he didn't have teeth because he had to wear a flipper for a long time. So he wouldn't wear the flipper unless we were going to be in public because it was like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So like we'd be driving and I would have to drive and I'm not a driver. And he's like, I can't find my tooth. And I'm like, crap. So I go running through the house to find his stupid tooth to come back out. And I'm like, I can't find it anywhere. And he's like, And then he goes, it's in my mouth. I'm like, I could kill you.
You're like, oh my gosh.
I know. But like, there were so many things like that were just like these stories. And I told another friend who's going through something hard, I'm like, literally, it's just shit. A lot of days, like a lot of it. And then I'm like, and so you either look at the glimmers or like the happy things that happened that day, or sometimes it's like so many bad things happen that you laugh because you're like, how can one more thing possibly go wrong?
Right.
And so then you laugh.
You have to. You have to.
Yeah. And so I'm actually glad I recorded a lot of those things because so many people were like calling or texting or whatever. They wanted to know. So it was just easy for me to update on social media. And like, that's another thing I was grateful for is like social media.
Yeah.
Like all the people that prayed, like it's crazy. Because Gentry said that when he woke up, the time he remembered waking up, he's like, I was like in this dark room, nobody's around. He's like, I'm in the most pain that I've ever been in. And he's like, all you can do at that point is pray. Like, he's like, so I just prayed like more than I've ever prayed in my whole life. And he's like, I literally could feel people's prayers like coming into my heart. Like, we are not these like, I wouldn't consider us like spiritual people. So like for us to have these moments, it's like kind of cool, you know?
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And it just like probably builds your testimony of God so much when you go through this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And just how many people are good and like so many people that just prayed for our family and for Gentry. And like at the plane crash, there were like a couple ladies that were like with Brock and Boston and they were asking for someone to give Gentry a priesthood blessing. And they're like, can we pray with you? And I remember Boston telling me afterwards, he's like, Mom, they prayed different than us. And I'm like, he's like, but it was so cool. Like, I don't care how you pray.
Yeah.
I literally do not care how you pray. I just love that you prayed for us, you know?
Well, and God hears all the prayers.
Yes.
God hears you just talking in your car, not even in a prayer. Just, you know, as long as you have the intention and you just feel the love and you're speaking to him, he hears it no matter how you end it or start it.
It's true.
It's a beautiful thing though. I want to talk a little more about you being on social media because you have a huge following. Did you have that following when you were starting Beddys?
No, I wish I did.
I'm sure I wish I
did because I feel like I did it backwards. Like so many people that have a following, then they create a product. And I'm like, if only I had that. And so when I started, I had 0 following and influencer marketing wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember there were a few people that had a following. In fact, Carly.
Oh yeah.
Carly Styles, Carly.
Yeah.
She shouted Beddys out and same with Kaylee, her sister-in-law. And I remember just being like so grateful to them. And I'm like, if I ever get a following, I like want to help other people out like this. So I understand like these small businesses that are just trying to get it out there. It's hard. And so I have like a heart for all these small businesses. And like, I love to see these small businesses like bringing something new or doing something different. And like, I want to support it and I get excited for them because I know how that is. But no, it was like a huge, like, I feel like Carly and Kaylee were like such a huge part of Betty's start.
Well, they're amazing.
Yeah, I love them.
I love them. So when did you get a social media following?
I would say like the funny thing is like when I was a hairdresser, I would tell people what vacuum they needed. Like I would
loved giving tips.
I did. So I'm like, it felt very natural. Just always
share.
Like I get excited about random things that I find. And so I kind of did that through Beddys. And then I was like, at this point, I feel like I need to separate Beddys and Betsy. So, cause I was like the face of Beddys a lot, you know, my business partner, she would go on, but she's like, I would love to not go on.
Like, this isn't really for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, but then I'm like, I don't want it to be Betsy as Beddys.
Yeah.
And so that's why I separated it. And then I just kind of just started growing my channel. And then I remember I had a few friends. They're like, can we please get you to 10,000 so that we can have a link? Because we're so tired of not having a link.
Yeah. Cause back then it was like the swipe up
link.
and the links.
Yeah. So I finally got it to 10,000 and it was actually Brock, his girlfriend Kesley. I remember she shouted me out and that was like what took me over the edge. I swear it was Kesley that took me over the edge to get to 10,000. Anyways, do you want to know the first thing I linked? Are you dying to know?
What was it?
Microfiber cloths. Like why?
Such a Betsy cleaning. You need these
for you're taking off your makeup. Cause I will always say like I would get the ones at Costco.
Yeah.
In the car detail section,
yeah.
those, and you cut them in half and they're the best makeup removers. They really are.
That's genius.
Try it. Yeah, it really is the best. But anyways, so that was my first thing that I linked.
You
I'll always remember.
Everybody go get these. Yeah. Not for what you think you need them for.
Not for your car detailing, although it works for that too. But get them for your face.
Get them for your face.
Yeah.
No, you're always sharing all the things.
But then all these cosmetic companies have since come out with microfiber cloths, which are great. And they are a nicer version of that.
But like save some money.
It's true.
Cut them up yourself.
I know.
Easy
They're
peasy.
the best.
Are there certain things that you still are like frugal on, even though you don't really have to be?
Yes, I am. Gentry will tell you I am the cheapest person.
Really?
I just am. Yeah, because if I can do it myself, why would I pay to get it done? Like,
we love an independent queen. I don't need.
I am.
Why aren't you out there mowing your lawn then, Betsy?
I know.
Thousands.
I tried to tell Gentry
acres.
we could do it. I did.
Yeah.
So okay, wait. This is a perfect example of me. I can't remember what kind of like if it's Hulu or one of those that they say like it's $5.99 if you want to watch it with commercials or $9.99. This is just barely. I ordered it with commercials because I was going to save $5.
Yes, you were.
The actual hell was I thinking? I was like, Gentry's like, you chose this. And I was like, I know it was the wrong choice. So, but that is like my first inclination is always just to like, okay, how can I save money? Like, but I think it's because we had to struggle for so long to grow Beddys.
No, for sure. No, that's amazing though. Are you loving those commercials?
No, we got rid of them.
You're like, okay, the $5 wasn't worth it.
What was I thinking?
No, that's hilarious. That's so amazing though.
So I don't know, but like then I will go spend money on like small business things that I'm like, it's more expensive to do this, but I'm like, I feel like I'm supporting somebody. I feel like it's a good product, you know, like, so I'll be cheap at my own expense, I feel like, but I try to be supportive and generous at other people. Like if I can support.
For sure. Well, you being on this podcast is supporting me. So thank you. Thank you. You're helping this small little business right here by talking with me.
I love it. And you know what? Yours is fun. So like I did investigate you first.
Of course.
Yeah. Cause we have to, we can't just
have to do your investigation. Yeah. Absolutely.
And you're fun.
I'm glad that you think I'm fun.
I like your vibe.
I'm like, I try to be fun.
Yeah.
I feel like some people find me maybe annoying, but I'm like, hey, if I'm too much for you,
you do a great job. You do a great job because you make me love all the people you interview.
Oh,
that's the important part is finding like what's great about all these people.
Well, and I love every single person. I always say like, people are like, who's your favorite? And I'm like, it's so hard because I leave with a best friend every single time.
Yeah.
So I can't just pick.
Yeah.
But like,
today
I will say it's Betsy because if I can ever come visit again, like I will, you guys, it's insane. It's beautiful. Yeah. Okay. But Nashville, what brought you to Nashville originally?
So we came out and visited some friends and I just like loved it here.
Yeah.
And, was not planning on moving at all. But I would like on the way home, like you get this, like I got this weird feeling and I was just like hit Gentry and he's like asleep. I'm like, do you like feel anything? He's like, I don't know. And anyways, so I'm like, I just loved it there. Like why, what's the pull to Nashville? So anyways, carry on. And then like about a month later, we were doing an analysis on all of our shipping and it made sense. We would have saved like a couple $1 million having a fulfillment center out here because this would serve all of your like East Coast areas. And shipping our products is just so expensive because they're so big.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah. So anyways, when we looked at that, we're like, oh my gosh. And then they put Nashville as the place that made the most sense. And I was like hitting Gentry. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe that was why I had that feeling that we needed to be out here. So anyways, we decided to move out here, and I want to say it was like around January or February, but we were going to move out in August. We weren't planning on starting the fulfillment till probably the following January. We were going to give it about a year, but I didn't want to move my kids in the middle of the school year because they had just missed their whole sophomore year because of the plane crash. Yeah. And we didn't want them to go get germs and bring germs home to Gentry. So I'm like, I can't let them start their first year of high school in a new area halfway through. Like they need to be like they have to be like starting at the beginning of the year. So we moved out here in August and we get here and it's great. We love it. And it was an adjustment for the boys, especially Brock. He had his girlfriend in Utah. Yeah. And so I told him, I'm like, we'll fly back every month. You'll get to go visit everybody, And so.
Do you still have your place in Utah?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So we still go back every month just for work stuff. But we got here and then things kind of started to go down for business. Like business just wasn't performing like it had been predicted to. And I think just the whole economy. And so we're like, okay, we're going to put a hold on this. And so we're still on a hold. I think we'll probably do it in about a year or within a year, maybe we'll have a place out here. But meanwhile, we just stayed because we loved it and I could make it work.
Yeah.
So that's the great thing about COVID. See, there was like a lot of bad things, but the great thing is I learned we could work remotely.
A lot of things throughout your story show that like bad things can bring you great things.
Yes. Like I feel like that's my life.
That's kind of the lesson I'm learning here today.
Yeah.
You just have to appreciate all the bad because it brings you all the good.
Yeah. It's really true.
Yeah.
So, and I'm always like, what lesson am I supposed to learn here? Can I
learn
it quicker to get it over with?
Lessons? We don't need any more lessons.
Yeah, I think I'm good with lessons.
Yeah. But this house is different than the house because you built a house here.
Yep. So we found it and it was like halfway through the building process when we found it. Mm-hmm. And then we just finished it and like picked out the final things or whatever. But loved it. It was great. It was a great area. It was beautiful. And it just like was missing something, and I don't know. Like, actually, I will say to start this too is my boys in Gentry were the ones looking for land. They would always bring it up. And I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with moving again. And then they found this place and I would just like entertain them and go look. Cause Brock and Boston bought a house like a year ago and then they fixed it up and sold it.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You have little entrepreneur sons.
I know. They're kind of hilarious. But they, so they were always looking at houses. And then we came out here and I just like, I looked out this dining room window and I was like, I remember like grabbing my realtor's arm. I'm like, tell her we want it. And the lady, the realtor selling the house is right there. And she's like, shh.
Like, don't be so eager.
She's like, gives you like, kind of like, shh. I'm like, it's fine. Just tell her.
It's hard to get.
Yeah. I'm not good at that. I will just tell you
not either.
Right up front. It's like, listen.
My husband's in real estate and every time we look at things, I'm like, oh, this is great. He's like, no, you have to act like you hate it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to act like this is a piece of crap and it's not that great and it's not worth what they're asking.
That is not how we work.
No, I want it now. Oh, yeah, this looks great. This is perfect.
Yeah.
And I like to give compliments too. So
that's exactly what I did.
Oh, this is beautiful. This is amazing.
This is my favorite part.
Yeah, this is so perfect. Oh, I can imagine this here. I can imagine that. My husband's like, shut up.
Yeah,
like,
that's me.
Oh, I'm supposed to act like I hate it. Mm-hmm. No, but like you couldn't act like you hated this if you tried.
I know.
Like, how could anybody ever be sad when you're just looking out your window?
We have albino squirrels out here.
What in the world?
Yes.
Like white squirrels.
White squirrels. Is that so crazy? So we just spend time here trying to figure out where they're at.
How many animals do you have? So you have cows.
Yes, we have cows. We have cats. We have chickens. We have like a turkey that comes by. He or she. Okay. I don't know. I don't know how to tell if it's girl or boys. I saw him like yesterday. That's not like we didn't adopt it. It's just like they just show up. And then we had geese.
Okay. Yeah. Do you get like ducks and stuff in your pond?
Yeah.
Is that technically a pond?
Yeah.
Is that what we would call that? Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have horses?
No, that's
okay. Next.
So like the meme that's like, if I win the lottery, there will be signs.
Yes.
That's my sign. Like
horses.
When I've made it, it's like I have horses.
Do you have a specific breed in mind? As if I know anything about horses.
No.
I just know stallions.
I know. I just want, I don't. Like, I just feel like I will go meet all the horses and then I'll know.
I picture you with a horse that's like speckled. Like,
Oh, really?
I picture you with like a brown and white speckled horse.
That's funny because I pictured a rich brown with black.
Oh, I see that too.
I don't know.
I see multiple horses in your future,
Maybe I need
Betsy.
multiple.
I see multiple.
And a baby horse for like my grandbaby. Can you
pony?
even imagine?
Yes.
Can you even imagine?
Yes. Who takes care of all the horses and are the cows?
Me. And
You
it's
do
so
it?
funny. Everyone's like, who takes care of it? I'm like, I do.
Do you milk them? Are they milkable?
Not yet. But that's
Okay.
so my cow's pregnant and she's due at the end of June. We are going to have a baby. We are
Why
going
didn't we
to
do
be
this at the end
milking-
of June?
I know. Come back.
I need to come back.
Yeah. Because so that's the thing. But like it's not a ton of work, but
Yeah.
I just go out there every morning and every night, you know?
Oh my gosh, are you nervous to like birth this baby
I'm
cow?
so excited.
Do you have like a vet that's going to
Yeah.
come? Like,
Yeah.
please tell me you're going to live stream it.
Oh my gosh, I need to.
No, you need to.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Okay, I will.
You need to live
For you.
stream. Please.
I will.
It's such a beautiful moment.
I know. I literally cannot wait. We have a family reunion and I told my family, I'm like, I will come if Honey Bun isn't
Honey
looking
Bun.
like she's going to, I know. And I didn't even name her, but it's the cutest name and I love it. If she has a little girl, do we name her like Cinnabon?
Oh my gosh, you have to. You absolutely have to. Honey Bun and Cinnabon.
I know.
And if it's a boy,
I don't know.
I don't know.
But like, we're going to milk
Bubba.
her. I can't even wait. So so if you say, Betsy, like, what's your ideal, like, chill weekend?
Yeah.
Or like, no, not even a chill, like, my ideal weekend is like, I'm doing a puzzle. I am watching cows give birth and also videos of how to make cheese. I'm not joking.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Are you like I picture you doing like a sourdough starter kit. Are you that type of person?
Yes. But okay.
Okay.
I didn't start the reason why everyone else started though. I
Okay.
started. So one of my friends, after the plane crash, she brought over sourdough bread for Gentry. And it was the only thing he ate. He would eat the sourdough and then he would eat or drink these boosts. That's all he could keep down. It's like his stomach didn't agree with anything else. So she brought it once a week and she came from Saratoga to bring it to me. Like April Orgill is like a gem of a freaking person.
April.
I know. She's not the
love
best.
her.
So anyways, I was like, April, I don't want to ask you to bring me more bread, but will you just teach me how?
Yeah.
This woman came early, like a 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, brought the starter. She brought the oven thingy that you cook it in, the scale. She gifted me all of those things, like, and then taught me how to do it. And then I made it literally probably every other day.
So then
for
you can
Gentry.
answer the question, what is in a starter kit?
So, okay, for the starter,
Yeah,
it's
like what
flour and water.
So why is everyone like literally traveling with their
Because it takes about a week, about 2 weeks to have your starter ferment. So it's a fermented starter. So so that's what bubbles. So the reason, then the other thing is, see, now you're going to be all over this when you find out that you have MTHFR.
Yeah.
I've already told you, but you should probably just confirm with a
go
doctor.
to a doctor.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually have a sign that says, please consult your physician before taking Betsy's advice.
We're going to put that as a warning at the bottom of the
I know.
podcast.
I know. But listen, so the other thing is so like what the sourdough is essentially helping digest that gluten for you.
Oh.
So people who have gluten issues
can have sourdough bread.
can have sourdough bread. Not celiac, but like if they have gluten issues, a lot of times they can. But I would be betting a lot of money because I also use that my flour is not enriched flour.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
So there's no folic acid in it.
I see.
But like it's hard to find rice. It's hard to find flour without folic acid. You have to like look.
You have to look.
A lot of organic stuff doesn't have it, but there's organic stuff that still has folic acid. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. So the starter, that's why people are like taking it on trips because it takes 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they want to make their bread on their trip in Hawaii. So
Yeah.
they need their little starter.
Yep.
Okay.
So
do you make like bread every day?
like probably every couple days. And I'm so sad I didn't even make it last night because I was so worried about my dumb chickens. So I have new teenager chickens that I'm trying to put
That
in with
teenage
my adult,
angst.
with my adult and I'm chasing them around. So normally I get my sourdough stuff prepped at night. So then you wake up and I bake it. So we have fresh bread in the morning.
Perfect.
And I didn't do that last night.
Because do you like get eggs and
Yeah.
so at some point you're gonna have eggs and milk And bread.
And it all comes down to like the health situation. So I got really into health things with Brock and then with Gentry. And so like I did this whole DNA thing. I took a course on like how supplements work with your DNA because I was like, I've got to heal my family.
So
I can tell you so many things off camera that we can like work on. You're going to love me. No, just kidding.
No, I already do, Betsy. I already do love
like,
you.
I'm telling you that there's so much, like the fact that Gentry was on an SSRI for I don't know how many years and he still didn't feel better. And then we found out that a lot of these things that he was taking were triggering his anxiety, and we take them out. We add some magnesium in, and then like it's
wow.
It like boggles my mind because do you want to hear another crazy thing? So
yes.
This just like people didn't know they were coming to hear.
Yeah, this is
Betsy pretend like she's a doctor.
This is actually a doctor podcast. This is a medical podcast.
Please, I know the people listening. Please know.
No, I've had another episode like this before, and I had to title it "We Are Not Doctors."
Yeah,
I was like, "We're not doctors, but like,
but listen
up."
I want to hear that podcast. But,
yeah, it's a good one. You'll like it.
So anyways, Gentry, his whole life that I've known him, has always worn black shirts because he sweats so much, and he's fine with me saying, as I've said this on social media, but
people are sweaty.
So he's like, because he would get embarrassed of sweaty armpits. Well, we got him on this whole new regimen, and he doesn't sweat anymore. He's like, my armpits are itching, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Gentry. I'm like, because you're using deodorant and you don't need the antiperspirant part of it anymore because you're not sweating. Like, I've come to terms with like our bodies are just like excessive sweating isn't normal.
Yeah.
Our bodies are telling us something's wrong, but we're just like, let's put Botox in our armpits so that it stops sweating.
Yeah, for sure.
No, let's figure out why.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you not use deodorant?
No, I still use deodorant.
Okay.
But
I'm like, how crazy is Betsy?
No,
She's not
I'm
wearing
not
deodorant.
that crazy. But like, I also don't feel like I'm an excessive sweater either.
Yeah.
But I just like the smell of things. And
yeah.
I try to go clean with a lot of fragrances and stuff. But there are some fragrances that just smell good and I will still use.
Your house smells so good.
But
What's
I try to be
right now?
Air Emoji, I think is what you're probably
amazing.
smelling.
Smells amazing.
Really? Thank you.
Yeah, I walked in.
Like
I was
there are some areas of my life that I'll be like super clean, and then I'm just
dialed in.
How about we just try to be better than we were yesterday?
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. That's a great lesson. It's a great lesson to learn, and that bad things equal good things.
It's true,
and you just gotta go with the motion.
They exist at the same time.
Absolutely.
That's the craziest thing. You will notice that like when you are having your hell shizziest, crappiest time, that there will also be something that like is showing up in your life that you couldn't have imagined, but it wouldn't have happened had you not gone through that.
No, I just had this analogy pop in my head that like bad things are like a seed and it's being planted to then blossom a flower.
Yes. That's really good.
I know. I just like came to me. I don't know.
Yeah. But good and bad have to exist. Like
they have to.
You can't just have a perfect life. Like
no.
It's not, because you wouldn't know it was perfect.
No. Oh, I did want to ask you though, are you scared to fly now? Because you obviously have to fly back and forth from Utah. And
my sister said it's exposure therapy.
Okay.
So
yes,
I get a lot of exposure therapy, and it's not like terrible. I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
You get through it.
Yeah.
But
you know, I cried.
Scary.
Like when my business partner and I went on our first business trip and we had to fly, she thought I was like joking until she saw the tears and I'm holding her hand. And she's like, oh, no, Betsy really is scared. Like, you know?
Yeah, so. That is scary.
Yeah.
Do your sons feel that way as well?
They're actually pretty good.
Okay.
They've done pretty well too. I think you have to get back, like the natural self wants to avoid all these things that like cause pain, but you kind of have to expose yourself to it to get over it.
Yeah. Face your fears.
Yeah.
But that is very scary.
Yeah.
But your family is so amazing and so beautiful. And I know how you kind of touched how after the accident, like your family dynamic, you were already really close, but that probably brought you much closer.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That was the whole plane crash thing, huh?
Yeah.
So this is a perfect example. So my kids were good kids. Yeah. All of them were good kids. And I say that because they were better than me. I was not that great of a kid.
Sorry, you were a wild one?
A little bit.
Oh, that's right. You were the black sheep.
Yeah, I was the black sheep that I just found out as black sheep. But anyways, no, after the plane crash, I remember like I was sitting there at the computer and Brock is wiping down the table and cleaning up. And I'm like, Brock, thank you so much for like helping. Like you've really noticed when I need help and you've been helping. And he's like, Mom, I've always noticed. I just figure now you need the help a little more. Like It was so cute.
Yeah.
But that's how they've been. Like, so when Gentry's in the hospital and I'm getting calls and I start crying, like my boys would like run over to me and they just rub my back as I'm on the phone, or like they were like so good. Like it was a rough time. Like my boys are 16 when the plane crash happened, and this is probably embarrassing, but it is what it is, but they were like scared still, you know? And so they slept on a twin mattress on the floor in my bedroom, and they would wake up and they didn't know that this was happening, but they were screaming in the middle of the night. And I think it was just processing the plane crash, right? So every night they'd wake up to I'd wake up to them screaming. And so then like when Gentry was coming home from the hospital, I was like, "Hey guys, we got to get you out of here," because I had to get a hospital bed for Gentry to come home. And so anyways, I remember the next morning I woke up and they were sleeping on the hardwood floor outside of my door. And I think it was just like, we were all just like scared. Like, you know, like I think when you're just like, it was such a traumatic thing for our family. But so we just, I don't know, they like stayed by my side so much. Like Alyssa had just moved out on her own. Yeah. And so she wasn't there quite as much. She would still come back and help a lot, but it was the boys. Like they would literally, they didn't even go to school because they did online school because of Gentry. But like we'd have doctor's appointments and they would drive us because I couldn't drive because I couldn't see very good. Like my vision was not good.
When did your vision come back?
It was like about 8 weeks, and my vision still isn't, like I can't read a book very well. Like I can't read a book either, but that's because I'm dumb, not because I can't see. It's crazy because it's something like I feel like it's hard for me to read. Anyways, they would stay out in the car while I would take Gentry up to the hospital and like go to his doctor's appointment, and then they would just drive us everywhere. Like, what freaking 16-year-old kids do that? But it's like, I think they're sweet kids. Anyway.
They are. Is it hard having your son on a mission right now?
Yes. Yeah. Like I want to leave the church because I'm so mad at, no, just kidding.
You're like, yeah, and this is my resignation.
Yeah, I know. No, I can see so much good from it. It's hard.
Because like he chose to do it.
Yes.
Like he wanted to talk to be out there.
I know.
He left a girlfriend. He left a mom. He left a home.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's good. I think that, and it's good if you don't go. It's good either way. Like like Boston, he's still like, every day he's like, I'm still praying about it every day if I should go or not. I'm like, Boston, you do what's for you. Like, he's such a good kid too. Like I don't know. I got lucky because they are not like me and Gentry. We were probably harder. Actually, Gentry was good too, I think. I think it was maybe just me. Just you. You're just the hard one. I was the troublemaker.
And your relationship with Alyssa, like what advice, because I feel like I need this advice as a mom. My kids are young. They're not teenagers yet. But how do you keep a relationship strong with your sons and your daughters? Because it's different. It's a different kind of relationship. You love them all the same. But like I can see in my daughter, she's going to be like me. She's a little spitfire. And there are going to be times where she's probably going to hate me. Yeah, where I feel like my boys are never going to hate me.
I know.
Like how do you grow and nurture relationships with all of your kids?
Just do your best. Like I wouldn't say that Alyssa and I had a great relationship when she was younger. I feel like it's like I literally cried when she moved. I bawled. And I remember coming home and the boys were out swimming and I was like bawling. They're like, Mom, but you still have us. I'm like, I know, but I really wanted Alyssa, not you right now. So it was like right when she freaking leaves me is like when we had this good relationship that I wanted to hang out with her. But before that, it's like teenagers are hard. But it was fun the whole time. It really was. I look back and I'm like, what was my favorite year? They're like all of them. Like when they were 3, they were the dang cutest and the worst.
Oh, that's where I'm at right now.
You know? Yeah. Like Gentry and I are like, if we could just like go back and visit a time, like I think I'd want to visit them when they were 3 because they're hilarious and so cute. But you also feel very tortured when you have to live with them because it's hard.
Yeah, it'll be fun to be the grandma of a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're going to be the funnest because you're going to have ponies.
I know. I'm like, what do we need to bribe you out here, Lena? No, just kidding.
No, really though. Well, Betsy, before we end, I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you for coming
taking
out
trash
here
with me. This was literally the funnest thing ever. But you need to do trash topic can. You have to take out.
Okay.
You have to pick a topic out of this trash can. Today's episode is brought to you by NOELLE. NOELLE is a true downtown Nashville gem built in the 1930s. This historic hotel has been transformed into a trendy, art-focused destination that gives the absolute best vibes. Located just a block away from the vibrant glow of Broadway, NOELLE offers an unforgettable experience with its beautifully restored interiors and 3 distinct dining concepts. My personal favorite is Make Ready L&L, a social hall serving up familiar favorites with Italian dishes, truly making me drool just thinking about it. From personal to shareable plates, complemented perfectly by a generous wine pour, it's the ideal spot for a good time and great food. Next, they have the most stunning rooftop bar, Rare Bird, with breathtaking views of downtown Nashville and delicious drinks and eats. It's a must-visit destination. But the perks of staying at NOELLE don't end there, because guests can unlock exclusive discounts and savings with the Relax and Recover Passport. Explore a curated list of wellness partners, including Blowout Co., Face Foundry, P-Volve, The Drip Bar, and Ian Rose 505, offering countless ways to unwind and rejuvenate during your stay in Music City. After being here for less than 24 hours, I'm already obsessed with NOELLE, and I can't forget to mention the gorgeous rooms. I feel like Nashville royalty staying here. So book your stay today at noelle-nashville.com and discover why NOELLE is the best hotel in Nashville. Trash Topic Can is brought to you by ROADTOBABY. Did you know that 1 in 4 people struggle with infertility, making the dream of growing a family seem like an uphill battle? You've probably heard celebrities like Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton sharing their own surrogacy stories, shedding light on their journey. But what if I told you there's a team dedicated to making those dreams a reality for everyone? Meet ROADTOBABY. ROADTOBABY Agency specializes in surrogacy, egg, and sperm donation. With their expertise, they navigate the bumpy road to parenthood alongside you, ensuring you never feel alone. And if you've ever considered becoming a surrogate, egg, or sperm donor, look no further. ROADTOBABY believes in fairly compensating those pivotal in making parenthood dreams come true. Surrogates earn between $60,000 to $100,000 for their first time dedication. Egg donors are generously compensated at $10,000 per donation, while sperm donors earn $5,000 for their first donation. Whether you've ever considered becoming a surrogate, egg donor, or sperm donor, ROADTOBABY is the place to go. Apply at roadtobaby.com. Again, that's roadtobaby.com. ROADTOBABY.com.
I hope it's a good one.
I'm a little nervous.
I know.
I always get a little nervous.
Craziest thing you've tried in the bedroom?
I'm so glad Betsy picked this one. Betsy, what's the craziest thing you've done in the bedroom? You've been married how many years?
25. Well, almost 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I've been married for 8 years, and in those 8 years, the bedroom ebbs and flows. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want you to touch me. So so 25 years.
Yeah.
Betsy, what's the craziest thing?
This is so hard because literally my kids never listen to my stories on social media. So I can say whatever I want on stories and people are like, are you not worried about your kids? But I feel like they will listen to this.
Hey, this is how you guys were made, you guys. You guys were
I know.
made in the bedroom. Are you guys affectionate in front of your kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah.
You don't have to give details here.
No, I'm not going to give details. I'm just going to say fun. We have fun.
You have fun. That's great. That's great. I love it. I feel like the craziest thing we ever did in the bedroom was attempt certain toys.
Yeah.
Certain toys that I won't be attempting again.
Yeah.
But that other people said were really great. And that's the one thing with the bedroom. It's your personal preference. Okay? Just because some people think it's great doesn't mean
it's
you
so
will
true.
think it's great.
It's true.
Because I've had friends recommend stuff and I'm like, that wasn't it for me. No. But then I'll recommend things to them. Like, I'm known for sharing the cock ring. Everybody listens to my podcast since the beginning, knows about this cock ring that I've shared. I shared it on Rachel Parcells' episode. I've shared it on so many episodes. Majority of people who order it, it's linked in my links. Okay. It's my most clicked link ever. everyone is like, it's amazing. But then there's like a couple that'll be like, no, it didn't work for me. And I'm like, that's crazy because it's a life
But
game
you have
changer.
to think too, like chocolate. Not everyone likes
It's
chocolate.
not for everybody. So you just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So just have fun.
Just
okay?
have fun with it.
Yeah.
Be wild and crazy. 25 years. That's very impressive. I mean,
Sorry, kids.
I'm hoping, oh my gosh, you didn't even say anything crazy. I'm hoping that at 25 years, I'm as hot as you when I've been married for 25 years and that my husband still wants to jump my bones because you always want to feel attracted to each other. And
I think that's also kind of cool about being a young mom.
Yeah.
Because then it's like your kids leave and you're still young.
You're still young and hot.
Like you still get to have fun.
You still get to have fun. We love it. Betsy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was so
really
much fun. Everybody, you have to follow Betsy's and you have to get Beddys. You have to get Beddys. The code, let me look up what the code was because I have a code, you guys.
We got you a code.
We have a special code and it's 25% off, which actually there'll probably be an ad inserted in here somewhere. So you'll hear it in the ad, but it's 25% off.
Okay.
Everyone needs it. You were so kind and sent me a Beddys.
Well, I was like,
for my daughter.
You have to know what it is before you come.
Well, and I had told you I'd wanted to get one, but I was waiting for my daughter to stop peeing in the bed in the middle of the night because I didn't want to have to like wash it all the time. She immediately, the minute it came, she was like, we have to put this on my bed. I sent you the video. She's obsessed.
That's so cute.
And guess what?
What?
She stopped peeing because she doesn't want to ruin it.
No
Like
way.
she's mentally like something has triggered her brain where she's like, I don't want to pee in my bed because I don't want to ruin this. She loves it.
That makes me so happy.
She loves it. It's like she thinks it's a sleeping bag.
I love it because it really is the best.
It really
honestly,
is.
That's the other thing is it like keeping it zipped on. Like she might want to zip in and then like the blankets stay on her so they don't wake up cold in the middle of the night and wake you
amazing.
up.
It's amazing. We got like the blush one. I don't remember the exact
Alexandria, I think.
The Alexandria with the minky inside. Yeah. And she's a huge fan. I texted you and I was like, I'm ordering more. These are amazing. So
I'm so glad.
Everybody needs to try it.
Yay.
The code's in the ad somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's Weekly Trash, 25% off. But that code's only going to last for I think a week. So
the code will stay the same.
The code will stay the same, but the percentage.
Yes.
It'll go from 25 to 20.
Yep.
Can't wait. Can't wait for everybody to get their Beddys.
Yay.
Betsy, I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you. This was so fun.
Everybody have the best week ever. And don't forget to take out your trash. Bye.
Bye.